Listen carefully, I can only say this once, maybe twice. I'm a global warming freak, as undoubtedly you are too, and you can't hardly sneak anything past me. I've discovered a new chart depicting ice cores from Antarctica. Just now discovered it. It's only 8 years old, called Epica. And you can compare this new ice chart from Antarctica, and I believe Vostok, I'm almost certain that Vostok is also from Antarctica. But this ice core goes deeper, about twice as deep as Al Gore's ice core. But it's a little bit different. The extreme left side of this chart, you'll see, and it's going to be in red. Look at the red line. Al Gore's chart is depicted in green. I'm going to show you a red line graph atop a green line graph. The green is Al Gore. The red, you could just think of international communism as red. Green and red are both the same. They're green on the outside and red. No, they're green on the outside and red in the middle. International communism. And prepare to be entertained. I'm going to accuse NASA of being a nest of communist fellow travelers. Now, isn't that strange? Isn't that worth your time and attention? It is my belief that if every human being suddenly disappeared off the face of the planet today, the polar ice would continue to melt and sea level would continue to rise. As a matter of fact, I believe if there'd never been a human being on this planet, the polar ice would melt and the sea level would rise. But first, I'd like to point out that these two charts don't exactly fit together, and I'll explain why. At first glance, the pair of lines on the bottom appears to be an exploded view of the left side of the upper graph, but this period of time covers more than 100,000 years. Therefore, a tiny nudge to the left or the right or up or down could easily distort hundreds of years of climate history. So I've placed tiny markers at the top, and I'm going to transfer those markers to the bottom. You can't see it yet. In a moment, I'm going to show you how this red line, being altered as it is, seemingly rewrites the past 10,000 years of climate history. The past 10,000 years is when human beings have flourished on the planet and began to engage in commerce and civilization, agriculture, and yes, the burning of fossil fuels recently. Let's compare these two charts. The green line, the green chart at the bottom is the Vostok, the one popularized by Al Gore, and at the top is the more recent chart. I'm going to call it the epic chart. It's an epic. So here's an epic smudge. This is an epic smudge. Al Gore's chart used to show just a smudge for the past 10,000 years, but the epic smudge is not only is it more of a line with distinct features, but it decidedly slopes upward, whereas Gore's chart at the bottom in green sloped downward. If the epic smudge is more accurate, it means that today's temperature is practically the hottest ever in the past 10,000 years. As long as human beings have been on this planet, it has almost never been so incredibly, blisteringly hot. But compared to the green line, today's temperature would be 2 degrees colder than the hottest period, which is inside that yellow circle. So why do these two lines differ so dramatically? Part of the reason is because the site from which the Epica cores were drilled has snow that is more compact, but only the ancient snow is compact, and apparently the more recent snow in the past 10,000 years or past 100,000 years on the left side is not as compact. This means that the ages of these various depths of ice had to be extrapolated or guessed or hypothesized, and supposedly they compared these ice cores to ocean bottom sediments to get a correlation. Ocean bottom sediments. We have ocean bottom sediments that give us a record of glacial periods and interglacial periods, and surprisingly, the ocean bottom sediments go way back, way back. I mean, really far back. Millions of years compared to the ice cores, which only go back less than 1 million years. So we've known for a long time, and we can tell from the ocean bottom sediments that the Earth has constantly undergone swings up and down. And we also know that generally the Earth has been getting colder, because the right side of this graph indicates the present day and the extreme left side indicates the ancient past. Al Gore says that those who do not believe in man-made global warming are like those who do not believe that man landed on the moon. 7 Apollo astronauts and 2 former directors of the Space Center in Houston said that statements that man-made carbon dioxide is having a catastrophic impact on global climate change are not substantiated. The unbridled advocacy of CO2 being the major cause of climate change is unbecoming of NASA's history of making an objective assessment of all available scientific data prior to making decisions or public statements. In a second letter, the NASA retirees urged NASA Administrator Bolden to make a commitment to equal or exceed the agency's reputation for careful reliance upon rigorous science. Join us, please, in encouraging your colleagues to achieve the level of excellence the world has come to expect from America's National Aeronautics Administration. Expressing the need for urgency, the letter ended with, "Waiting is not an option." Now I'm going to explain why this chart is so distorted. Apparently the snow on the right side is so compressed that the drill depth is about the same as Al Gore's Vostok core, but about 75% of the time span is compressed into half of the ice core itself. So it's very distorted, and it's no wonder that it's also distorted on the left side over there where the letter A is. But just remember, we have a long record of climate change going back more than 5 million years. The noteworthy aspect of this chart, this record, is that the climate is steadily getting colder. However, the volatility is increasing. The highs and lows are becoming more extreme. We are in one of those extreme highs, which is actually perfect, not too hot and not too cold. You can expect in a few thousand years for the temperature to plummet.